Well, welcome back. This is the Together We Rise podcast. We got two mainstays, staples of the organization in the building today. To my left, Chris Strange, a 10-year realtor in the game, the veteran of the squad. So welcome to the podcast, and we're excited to have you more often.
Cool.
I mean,
right.
You are cool. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. So
stay my hype, man. You stay to my right the whole
trying.
day, dude.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. Let the people know a little bit about yourself. So,
like I said, 10 years in the game. Been in real estate now. 43 years old. Father of 4 kids, and I've been always in residential real estate. I've sold hundreds of homes. I've ran teams now for the last about 6 years, and now happen to be with the Rise Group. With the Rise Group now all together, we Rise for the last 2 years. So yeah, excited to be here. Excited to be a part of this podcast and hang out with you guys.
Legend. And speaking of legends, to my right, we have Pham, a serial entrepreneur. Just a book of business, more than your average Joe. You can't. This guy's been through everything. A guy I look up to, managing partner here, CEO of Rise Group. So to have you on the podcast, which will be on the podcast more times than we can count, is my brother Pham. How you feeling?
Blaine, thank you for the intro. Appreciate that. A little bit about myself. 41, 4 kids. Managing partner here at Rise Group. Happy to be here. Been buying, selling real estate since I was 24 years old, commercial, residential. Just happy to be here. I mean, in real estate, lending, insurance, construction. So a little bit about me. I'm pretty sure as we continue on, bits and pieces will start come out more about me.
Love it. I love the mystery behind the
anticipation,
behind
the intrigue.
The guy has nuggets stored away in the brain there.
Man, you just got to bring it out, Blaine. You got to bring it out.
So, I mean, it's been a wild week or wild 2 weeks since we were on here last, and there's just many things changing in the market, many things changing in the business world and in the economy. So, I want to dive into a couple things there, so we could just kind of give our thoughts on what we see happening. I know you were talking about, you're thinking, interest rates are down a little bit, and you were explaining just kind of what you think is going to happen. I'd like to elaborate a little more on that.
A lot of it really, Blaine, is just research, right? I mean, been through the 2008, great recession of our time. Obviously, at that time, I've lost a lot, and being naive, not educating myself and understand what was going on then, and now, obviously, being a business owner, being involved in real estate heavily, and just trying to understand, what a recession is, what causes a recession, rates go up, rates go down, looking at, key indicators. I mean, looking at the market as a whole, and obviously as a team trying to figure out, how the market's going to look in the foreseeable future to be able to kind of educate our clients, ourselves on what's going on. Yeah.
So you were talking before we got on here, you were saying that rates did drop this week, apparently. But earlier this week, I heard that Feds were raising rates. So how does that work, and what's the correlation behind that?
So, I mean, with the Feds, it's called the Fed fund rates. So when they raise those rates, it's basically with these banks on what they would have to have in reserves amongst each other. That has no direct effect with mortgage rate, but it has a correlation. So everything is correlation based off of the Feds raising the rate. So at the end of the day, mortgage rates are more based on like the 10-year bond. But when you're looking at it on a graph, there's a correlation. There's a correlation to everything, but like I said, most people go, whoa, the Fed just rose the rate,
Was it 3/4?
0.75%, right? But what happened to mortgage rates? It dropped. So obviously another key indicator coming out is the fact that our GDP, we're down 2 consecutive quarters, so technically we're officially in a recession. So when a recession happens, our government's going to try to obviously stimulate the economy, get it going again, and rates dropped.
And we know this because these events are cyclical, right?
100%.
They're cyclical. They happen. It's not just like we've spoken about it a bunch. Not oh my God, this just happened. You look at the past and you look at the present. You could you can't predict it, but you could judge this is going to happen then, and usually it happens within 2 to 4 month window of what we're actually thinking, because we're looking at the cycle of the chart. Like, okay, now we're getting to this part of what's happened in the past, and we're going to go here, right?
Well, it's also a game too. So it's like life is a game. Like everything that we deal with is a game. There's rules, and we have to see how we can build a strategy to succeed while following those rules. And so, like, whenever there's rules to just life in general, but we see like these things happening, and we can almost predict based on like how our minds think, right? Like you're always strategizing like how you're gonna grow or get ahead or succeed, and like so when you see certain things happening and you've seen them before, you can almost predict the future. You can't say it out loud, you can't like promise people that obviously, but your mind's kind of like, well, I'm pretty sure this is what's gonna happen because you've seen it before, and your mind just kind of thinks that way. So I feel like that's what I've been doing.
I think so we obviously hear all the news, recession, and everybody just kind of like gets the negative,
the headline,
and so, but all of us here in the sales business, we've all like ran different, aspects of just whether it be retail, just like anything, like we've just done different things in the past. There's always a seasonality to any business. Right, and if sometimes there's a switch that happens, something's going on, whether it be a bad storm in the area where now it doesn't make sense to, to sell that kind of product in that kind of weather. It's the same thing. We're just in a little bit of a storm where normally during the summertime we're really hot. We're out there showing. We're out there. We're qualifying people. There's tons of buyers coming to the market. There's tons of sellers wanting to sell during this time of the year. Right now, we're just in a little just shift in the seasonality that we're used to, and I think it's just a matter of just kind of shifting to understand who's really in this.
It's
market
been like
right
constant curveballs over the last like couple years, like with COVID and everything going on. It's been like
I feel like for my clients, I want to, just because you kind of said retail, someone's popped in my mind. It's like buyers, the houses are on the sales rack right now. They're kind of on the sales rack.
Kind of on the clearance rack.
Yeah, clearance rack.
They're on the borderline.
And the purchase price, like to dumb it down for somebody that's like, what do you mean? Like, kind of things are kind of on the clearance rack. Like, let's go shop, And it's just hard to like push somebody in there.
Well, it's hard because it's like they're using credit to buy it. So it's like it's almost like it's on the clearance rack, but you're using your credit card to buy it, and your credit card interest rate is a little bit more.
A little more, right?
Yeah. Can we throw some 18-month no interest financing in there?
That's what people do, right? Like it's all a game. Like that's when you go to buy a new car, it's like they throw some type of, or you get a new dishwasher and they're like, you don't have to pay interest for the first year or whatever. The people throw out those deals all the time.
To think about that, like for let's say like you guys have a lot of investors in your guys' network and you guys are probably talking to them a lot. Do you see them acting more in a market like this because they don't have to deal with that? Like if they're coming down full cash, right? Cash buyers, investors like that. Do you see them jumping to purchase more now because they see home sitting?
I think some of them are being shy right now. I think a lot of the investors that have succeeded over the last couple of years have succeeded like in a market they've only seen one type of market. Like maybe if these are my people in my network, like I'm seeing like people, I'm taking a break. Also, they might be sitting on a few properties that, unfortunately, like most humans, they think like, okay, how do I do more? How do I do more? How do I do more? So like when the market was great, they're in production mode. They're like, okay, acquire. The market shifts, and now they're sitting on a few properties, and now they're a little scared because they have holding costs. They got to give discounts on these properties. They're taking haircuts. So that's what I've seen talking to a few investors that I know. But, there's also like, I've only been in the business for 5-6 years. So those are just my networks, but I don't really know a ton of investors that have been in the game like 10 plus years and what their mindset
they just have like endless amounts of money to
just like they've seen ups and downs. So like, and they're never too like risky with they're just always just like kind of picking stuff up like as they go and just like, I don't know.
I think more like I see long-term hold investors kind of not taking their foot off the pedal as much as your flippers, right? Yeah. So because obviously if they're able to get a fair market value, a little bit below fair market value for right now,
like
the long-term hold 7-10 years, I mean, it doesn't really matter because at that point,
you get to pick and choose when it's
building
time
your income anyways, and so you're building that. So I think from that aspect, I don't see. There's not a lot of traffic on the market right now, regardless. But I think right now it's kind of a shift of where you're spending your money at. So you might not be spending in the same market that you're at, but now you might be taking a look at an opportunity where am I going to see less volatility, right? So maybe I need to shift from like a Sacramento market that saw some big increases over the last couple of years, where like, well, you know what, a lot of people might not be going that far anymore, but let me stay in a little bit more stable, where like the San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland areas are going to be very much still volatile because people still need homes.
Right, like location.
Switching to the micro market.
We've been through like an inflationary period, right? Like, think that's what they're trying to battle right now is inflation, and some of that could be homes too. Some areas can be overinflated because of the demand that was popular during the pandemic. What became a necessity during the pandemic? You saw a lot of people moving farther out because they work from home. Maybe that's not such a necessity anymore, so that was inflation, right? So we might see some of that, some of those certain areas settle down a little bit because they're not in high demand anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's what the economy, that's what everyone's trying to do in the economy right now is battle inflation. So we're going to see some of that in the housing market. But like you said, areas like San Francisco, Oakland, like, big areas like that, they're always in demand.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to be there.
The pandemic, because everyone was moving out, they want space. But now, back to work starting up, you're starting to see that, and now we're right back where we started, back to pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
we're starting to go that way.
Right.
What's it like? I mean, a wise man once told me by the name of Chris Lopez that our economy is based on transactions. So yeah, people moved out here because of the pandemic, because they needed more space, they needed to work from home. But now they're required to go back to the office. So now they're going to sell the homes out here, move back to the Greater Bay Area. Right. So our economy is based off of transaction. Things got to happen. People's got to buy. That's how the economy, the economy gets stimulated. Then again, like I said, recession causes what? People to not transact, right? We've seen rates go up, rates are coming down to hopefully get people to transact again. It's the ideology. It's like, what's the narrative?
Yeah, make it
what's
scarce.
The next narrative that we're gonna sell to the general public to get transactions to happen?
Right.
Whether it's buying cars, homes, consumer goods.
If you take it away from people, or you make them scared, then you lower it a little bit. Then they jump on it.
Right.
It's like
people just, like I said. I mean, people just like, what's the narrative? What's the next narrative?
It's almost too easy.
Right. It is.
Fear can make people do a lot of crazy things.
A lot of crazy things. A lot. I mean, you react. Some people react hastily.
Right.
Some people take their time. It's the patient folks that sit back are the one that, in my opinion, is probably going to gain the most. Just from being older, going through 2008, 2020, and now 2022. It's just patience. I think it's patience, and like I said, get rid of things that you don't need, and just be ready to put yourself in a position to acquire when that time is there.
I think we listened to a podcast this morning about not about trimming the fat, but that's a great way. But you're trimming the fat to be able to prepare yourself to be able to make a move. Yeah. Right now is not the time to be able to take your foot off the pedal in terms of your business, right? I mean, we're in a recession, the inflation's up, but I
tweeted that today. Economic recession doesn't mean recess time. Yeah. It's not time to go play or to go
I've seen
chill.
So many businesses that just took off during COVID when everybody was like, oh, shit, what are we doing? Right. Then that's when you see just look at just the spectrum of businesses out there. You saw a lot of people just take off.
But not just in the business, but like people who were prepared, right? Business owners, people who were incorporated, all this stimulus money that came out, like people were just eating.
Yeah, took advantage of it.
Right. Took advantage of it, right? PPP, EIDL.
There's always going to be little stimulus packages out there. Back when just getting out of the 2008, 2009.
Well, especially if you're a business owner. You know what I mean? Like the stimulus package that the commoner got was what? $2,000, $1,500. What's that going to do for you? But then there's business owners that are getting millions for PPP and EIDL.
Right.
You know what I mean? Half of it's forgivable.
Yeah. We got some stuff that was forgiven on our behalf, but we weren't positioned, we weren't experienced enough to be able to position ourselves to reap more of that benefit that a lot of these other business owners that had knowledge that cashed in.
That's like Fortune said, recession fears and rising rates are a buying opportunity for affluent Americans. This is when the wealthy make their money.
Gets wealthier.
So it's like if you want to get rich, kind of got to follow the footsteps, right?
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. If you got to be able to take a risk, right?
Yeah,
you got to be able to take a risk.
Obviously,
risk sounds good until you're until you're taking a risk. Then it gets scary real quick, because there's always the idea like, oh, I'm gonna go buy this house, or I'm gonna go buy this asset at a low price, because people are more shy right now. But when you actually get there, you realize some of the other things that comes with that make you feel uncomfortable, like a higher payment when it comes to a home, right? You're like, yeah, you're gonna get a lower priced home, but interest rates are up. You're probably gonna have a little bit of a higher payment that you would have paid on a higher priced home at a lower interest rate last year, or maybe something like that. So it's like, it makes you feel uncomfortable. The idea is simple, but when you get to that point, it's like, ooh, like you got to stomach a little bit of hardship. And growing is never comfortable. I've never felt comfortable in a growing situation. Even when you're a kid and you're physically growing, it hurts. You know what I mean? You get your kids and they're crying. You know why? They're just growing. It's never comfortable.
True.
A lot of it is experience, right? I mean, you can speak about it until you're blue in the face, until you go through it, right? I mean, for me, the analogy I like to use is like, most people have to go through like at least 3 recessions in their lifetime to be experienced. By the time you go through 3 recessions, more than likely you're probably in your 50s and your 60s. And that's where I think, you gain the most in terms of like growth and accumulating assets is when you hit the age of like 50 plus. There's no way around it. I mean, you can talk about it all you want, but until you go through it.
Right. You can try,
right? I mean, we had a huddle a couple weeks back. I was like the oldest one in there. James, Blaine, Olivia, Naab, forget whoever else, but we were just talking about 2008. In 2008, you guys were in high school.
Yeah, we didn't care. The only thing I cared about was high gas prices, because I had just got my license and I couldn't drive far anymore.
Yeah, and me, I got my ass kicked, right? I lost 5 homes.
Yeah. I was in the midst of the hyphy movement.
You were in the hyphy movement.
Yeah,
so
I was.
Me and strangers, it's like, man, we got kids, about to lose my home and a couple other investment properties I have. In my head, I'm a real estate mogul, you know.
One day,
state income loans. I was buying homes left or right, and when it got all took away, I was like, damn. Like, facing 2022 puts me back in that mindset of 2007, 2008 again, right? So those are the fears that I'm feeling. Like, man, but then again, it's not 2008.
It's different.
It's different. 2008 was obviously, predatory lending. Yeah. You had a pulse, you bought a home. These days, you got to qualify.
Right.
Blood sample, your first kid. You mean full doc.
Well, it's not your first kid market anymore. It was like 3 months ago, but not anymore.
It was. They'll take your dog. But other than that, you're good.
They'll take your dog. Yeah, but you know what? I was having a conversation, and I always kind of reflect back. I think all these conversations happen for a reason, right? And it kind of gives you a mindset how to kind of like tackle life and how to tackle your upcoming, hurdles. But like this kind of market, hopefully it doesn't last that too long, right? So, but when we get punched in the face, we all react, right, in a certain manner. And so, like right now, this is going to be my first punch in the face. I've been in the business for 10 years. It was a little slap in my face back in 2018 when interest rates climbed up a little bit, but it really wasn't a big, punch like this.
It's a pretty big,
could be, right?
Yeah. It feels like a pretty big punch. We don't know the future, right? Like looking back at it, like when that little punch happened, I felt like it was a big punch, but it really wasn't.
Right.
This one feels like a pretty big punch, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's a small punch later. I don't know. We'll see.
But it's the experience that we have in this it's just going to make us that much more stronger in how you react to in this kind of market, how to maneuver yourself, how to position yourself to be able to still be successful in this market, because there is still a market. And what are we doing right now to be able to still continue to be successful, because we're successful in the previous market, but there's a lot of people that were successful in the previous market.
Leaders move fast though too. Like leaders move fast. We're not the only people that are thinking about this stuff. Like there's tons and tons of people thinking about this.
How people are thinking fast. I think 99% of people are thinking about it. It's how many people are going to react.
Yeah, but there's some leaders. There's a lot of leaders out there that are moving, that are reacting fast. Yeah. And it's funny because it's funny that we attach ourselves to the same information. Like the leaders in the market in whatever you're talking about, they're reading the same information as us. They're going through the same experiences. Even if we don't know these people, even if they don't even live close to us, they're still going through the same things, and they're reading the same things. They're experiencing the same things, and they're putting out the same exact content. I don't even know these people. Yeah, you know what I mean?
So that story I started before, right?
Yes.
I was having a conversation with I have a buyer who's kind of just getting into the game. She found her dream property on a dream street. She's fallen in love with it. So she's wants to act on this property, and then she gets COVID. right? And so she's just down for the count for a little while, right? And so she not calling me, you know, she's just.
You just thought she ghosted you?
Yeah, I just thought she ghosted me, and I was like, well, you know, that's weird because she was really on that property, but because I already started talking to the listing agent, he's like, yeah, you know, we've been on the market for like 60 days, and you know, bring an offer, Chris, you know, so. She ghosts me. I start ghosting him because I don't know what to tell him. I don't know where she went, you know. And so he calls me on Sunday, and he's like, you know, I didn't pick up. You know, I just let it go to voicemail. I checked the voicemail. I'm like, well, I still got nothing for you, dude. So I didn't call him back. So come Monday, they pull it off the market, right? And so my client calls me Monday afternoon. Hey, Chris, what happened to the property? I'm like, well, you know. So then I call him. He's like, well, you know. Yeah, he's just, you know, been in the business a long time, you know, and so, but he kind of just told me you know, this market is crazy. The prices are falling right now, and you know, this is just going to get way worse, and you know, so and he's like, yeah, I don't know if you even bring me an offer, I don't know, you know, if I can even like entertain it anymore because it's just a horrible market for my client to sell in, and I was like, whoa, this is just like a crazy. Negative mentality. Irate, I was like, first of all, I got to get off the phone with you because I don't want those vibes in my head right now, right? And so, but just that mentality, that opinion of just the sky's falling, like literally, like everything he was saying was the sky's falling, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. In other words, right? But it definitely wasn't, and that's just, you know, it's dangerous because that's kind of what his client is either cascading on him. He's letting that absorb. Right. But you know, so long story short, you know, I mean, he's, you know, it's that's just kind of the fear mentality that's kind of out there right now from a consumer as well too, from the news as well too. You know, like every morning, I don't know if we're just hypersensitive because we're realtors and you know in the real estate business, but we're, you know, there's always talking interest rate every single day. There's talking, you know, everything is just about inventory levels rising and all that, and so
interest rates and like what is the narrative that you're pushing in the market, right? Like this guy's obviously, you know, just by having a 5-minute conversation with him, what narrative he's pushing to his clients and his people, and it moves around, right? And it battles against different information, right? So it's like I said, the leaders and the positive leaders in the market right now are pushing the same narrative, right? Great time to buy. Prices have gone down. You can get a deal. Negotiations back. Obviously, there's always going to be objections to that from people, right? Because it makes you feel uncomfortable to make a buying decision, no matter what. There's always going to be objections. So, you know, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, too, and just say, hey, what's my narrative that I'm pushing? Yeah. You know what I mean? Where's there the opportunity in this market that I can sell?
Right.
Yeah. Just having there's a seat in the bus in every market. It's just finding that right seat, and you know.
Catching the right bus,
right?
Well, you have to understand the opportunity too, right? Like if you just hear the negative news and you're just like, well, all right, like sky's falling. If you believe it too, and you're not looking for the opportunity, you're just
up on the bus to Loserville, right? So you got the front seat there, right? Yeah, we're going to Wintersville, right? And so because we have the right mindset and just had to figure out the right way to be able to maneuver in this market.
Last thing you want to be is on the right track with the wrong train. You know what I mean?
Jesus. I feel like there's so many trains to take right now.
There's a lot of trains.
It's fundamentals. You need a roof over your head for your family. You buy. Yeah. Regardless of what the times are and is and what's looking like.
It's a necessity.
It's a necessity. A home is a necessity.
Right.
So you're not buying the interest rate.
People forget that, especially people in California forget that a lot.
They forget that.
Because they've seen so much appreciation, they just only see it as an asset.
Yeah.
As a tool to
life happens.
Yeah.
People have kids. So I was on listening to a call yesterday, and they bought their house literally 11 months ago. It'll be a year in a month, right? So they're like, we hate our commute. We had our baby. This home, it just isn't enough. I spent too much time on the road. I want to enjoy my baby.
Sure.
Life happens. They don't want to spend an hour and a half driving each way every day.
3 hours.
So we just want to sell. I was like, well, you know, like, we initially talked 3-4 months ago. I was like, you can get this much money. And granted, they only bought a year ago. They were FHA, so only put like 3.5% down. So there's not a whole lot of equity to play with here, regardless. So 3 months ago, I would have been able to get them, you know, they would have probably netted like $50,000-$60,000. You know, but now in this current market, you know, they where the market is at in their neighborhood, they probably lost that equity that they gained over the last year.
Breaking even.
Yeah. So right now they'd be a little bit less because
Jeez.
Somebody's got to get paid. So, but you know, so now we're in a situation, right, where now I filled out the information so I could be able to contact their lender and go down the short sale road. Now we're kind of in that because life does happen, right? So now short sales. I don't think we're in a foreclosure market because people still have jobs, right? So, but that aspect of it where people having to move and having to be or being underwater.
Rates start coming down a little bit though, they might catch a break. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
All it takes is a little bit.
Yeah. But the things that are important, right? So I mean, obviously, there's repercussions to a short sale, right, from a credit perspective and all that. But what's important in life is I just want some time back in my life, right? So there's a market for people, right? There's a and so that's kind of like my lesson from that.
And then traffic's just worse now.
Yeah.
More people are on the road.
Going back to work. Everybody thought they were going to be working. From home.
You can't buy back time.
It might not even be the fact that they're too far. There's just more people on the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It felt great driving to work in a recession when no one's on, Highway 4.
Oh, it's great. There's no one on. Yeah,
we all loved Highway 4 during COVID.
Yeah.
Now you can't even get to the DC, man.
Yeah.
Country clubs blocked off. Jesus Christ.
What's life turning to?
I know, man. I know. But other news in the world going on, just things that are interesting me, and I don't know if it interests you. Is this? I was talking about it before. Is this Saudi Arabian linear development going on? And do you see this happening other places, like sustainable?
My question is
is this going to be the future?
My question is, how long is it going to take to
build that?
Like, will we even see it?
But are other people going to start adopting it? Like, it looks pretty epic. Like I said, it looks like literally the Jetsons. Like, it looks like you're going to be flying cars. It looks like the future, And if it works out, do you just see major places with a lot of land start just incorporating these type of builds into their economy?
It did. How long does it take
to build it? Right. I mean,
they built facilities in China in like 2 months. So, I don't know. We'll see. There's obviously different architecture, but I think it's definitely a sustainable future. So that mindset, I think is definitely kind of where we're going, right? So more compact living, more kind of just
sustainable living.
Yeah, just like where we just less traffic, right? So hopefully no more Highway 4s, right, being built where now we're just kind of all just kind of in where everything's just in one.
Did they say how many people can live in that?
They didn't. They said how many. It's a few miles long, right? And then it's but basically it's in chunks of neighborhoods. So you can, if you
100 miles long.
100 miles long. It's a few, right?
Just a few.
100 miles long,
dude.
And you can you can walk to do all your necessities within 5 minutes of your neighborhood. And so that's how it'll be. And I'm sure there'll be different levels of neighborhood. I'm sure from an income perspective,
right.
So because we're still.
Well, they were saying it's you have views from the outside too, because it's going to be glass. Yeah. It's going to be cased in glass, so there's going to be sick views from the top.
And this is all
you're not going to get that
for sustainability to lower the carbon footprint. Basically, is what they're doing, and we have obviously success with fucking Tesla. Yeah. So is this going to be the new wave?
It could be. This is basically the prototype. I just don't know how long it's going to take.
Because how long were people talking about electric cars for? Forever.
Yeah,
until someone figured it out and did it and did it the right way.
You've had electric cars well over 100 years ago.
Right, but no one was buying them. It wasn't a thing.
Exactly. It's just...
And realistically, the linear city's first blueprint was made in 1886. So...
That's how long it's taken
to even accomplish it.
Evolve.
1882, sorry.
So it takes an Elon Musk to kind of break through the ceiling.
Yeah, because
there's a lot of politics you have to fight through.
Right.
There's
Nikola Tesla, who was named after, he was talking about this electricity, use way before Elon Musk was all right, let's do it. Now the Saudi Arabian, I don't know, prince, whatever he is just I want to be the Elon Musk of cities. Which is a flex, in my opinion.
You look at UAE, you look at Dubai, you look at what they've accomplished just with sheer engineering over the course of the last 20 years. Doesn't seem not too long ago. They're building unbelievable things.
I have a question about Dubai that I don't have an answer for. Maybe you guys do. Is the water there man-made, or is it actual like body of water? The water in Dubai.
Well, the
you know,
water itself.
No, like the water, like that lake in Dubai, where people like ripping around on jet skis. Like,
well, there's a lot of man-made lakes in Dubai, but you're talking about like
the main one.
I don't know. Look at a map, dude. Is it? Let's get some geography
I
here.
mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to get into some shit that just takes my brain.
I've never
left.
been there, so I can't really tell you too much about Dubai.
We're going from selling houses to building cities, you know? So.
We're the Rise Group.
Right? Hey, anything's possible. Right. Rise Group. Engineering dreams.
Where is Dubai?
He said, where's Dubai on the map?
Here we go. Oh, right here. Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay. I was just.
That's the ocean, my friend.
So
shows how uneducated
I'm gonna go
geographically I am.
No, it's not man-made. So.
I was like, for whatever reason.
That's the Persian Gulf. That's the Persian Gulf, my friend.
What's man-made water? Like in a lab?
I'm like,
But
are they digging like you know you pull up to a golf course? They build lakes in there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Like,
there are a lot of man-made like lakes and canals over there, but you know that's.
See, I'm
my
half
friend,
crazy,
is
not
the,
full crazy.
That, my friend, is the.
Hey,
get you,
I haven't been there. Hey, you know, I gotta
But
get
like,
out of
see all these things.
gotta get out of the Contra Costa County.
This
more
is
than
what
once.
they're doing. Like these things that they have, like the little developments.
That's
Yeah,
see,
maybe
this is
they
what I'm talking
make
about.
that,
Okay,
but
okay,
yeah, no.
okay,
This-
that's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if water is just. I don't know. Maybe someone out there is making water, man-made water.
Hey, that's next.
We're making zero gravity cities. That's next.
Zero gravity.
That's
Zero
what
gravity.
The linear.
Well, you can float.
It's zero gravity is what it said. I'm just reading the headlines.
Right,
Like
zero
everybody else in
gravity,
this world. I don't read the article. I just read the
headlines, and that's why everybody's scared about anything happening in our business world. It's because they read headlines.
You're worrying about buying a house. These guys are building a brand new city concept that's never been built.
That's never been even thought of besides.
They got so
That
much
thought
money.
process.
Let's do it.
That's right.
It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense.
What else is going on in the news?
This is the gold content, dude. Don't cut anything out.
That's what I'm saying. How you guys been?
How have you been? Are you okay?
I don't
Did you
know.
take a COVID test?
Took COVID. Took 3 of them.
Still negative?
Although they were all positive, but
No.
no, they were negative. Feel good about it.
What about monkeypox?
Yeah, did you do the monkeypox test?
I had a rash right here from on Friday, but it was from throwing Nano in the pool. I think his like shorts,
His
were
toenails were
like something, dude. So then I was like, dude,
toe
this is a
claws.
fucking rash. And then I realized monkeypox rashes only happen on your genitals. So
Oh, good.
just
That was a key
So-
Google search for you that day.
that was a big deal, right?
Put the mind at ease.
So that worked out.
Pictures of monkey. Oh!
So don't Google monkeypox.
So Google monkeypox rash.
Pictures. Images on
Image. So that was cool. You guys talking about rates? Is that what you
Well,
said?
Ty brought it up.
I mean, rate wise, I mean, obviously Feds did their thing yesterday. I would say like, how do people interpret that though? I think that's kind of the biggest message. If there's anyone that you're probably following or that we're following, you know, interpretation is going to be everything. I think we talked, you guys, when I walked in, you guys were talking about fear mongering, what the news tells you to do, what everyone probably economically wants us to feel is fear, right? Anytime the Fed raises rates, what's the idea behind it? Slow spending down. Ty talked about the transactions and the dollar turning. That's what they want, right?
So slow spending down would equal
Slow spending would equal less transactions, which means curbing inflation. That's the metric that they're going to, and the
down
lever
the
they're
cost
going
of that banana.
Exactly, right? So if they can slow us down and not have us spend so much, then inflation becomes easier to manage. And it's just, you know, how do we deal with the R word? We've been talking about the R word. Your first post about recession was months ago. You know, we have basically GDP about to come out, and we're going to find out what that overall.
Didn't it come out?
No, it comes out, I think, about the 28th. What's the date today?
Thursday.
The 28th.
Yeah, it comes out today, right? I think.
It came out this morning, I think.
I don't know. I've been sick, dude.
I think it came out
Did
this
Dr.
morning.
tell you?
It
Look
told
it up
me, yeah.
if it
That's
did.
how I know, because the
So
TikTok
that dictates if we're officially in a recession, right? You hear all these things. In essence, rates and that Fed rate going up, for everyone that doesn't know, but I think more people are becoming more and more educated, is that it isn't a direct correlation to mortgage interest rates, right? And that's what every major influencer in the mortgage industry is talking about, which they should be, right? They should be making us feel more certain in our potential purchase, more certain in our house buying process, more certain in getting us off the couch. Consider we might have put ourselves back on it because of everything that's been talking about. So I think that's where, you said it right now is it a lock week? Could be a lock week, right? It could be a week because this might be the few days where the banks haven't assessed everything yet, and then they're going to raise rates potentially next week. Maybe they raise rates a quarter point. Maybe it's a half point. Who knows what it is? But it could be a great time to lock. You can't tell the future. Mortgage rates and everything, we can go off historics and we can do all those things, but you can't tell the future. I think really what it is just to understand which rates are actually directly impacted, which are mostly credit cards, personal loans, business loans, and then they kind of hit the mortgage. It just takes a little time. So everyone that I follow that I believe has great either content or great insight, they were preaching lock this week if you can. If you have a loan that you're thinking about doing or you're thinking about pulling the trigger and you're on the cusp, or maybe you want that offer or whatever it is, and you're locked this week if you can. It's not a lot of people that probably can do that because it's contract based, but if you can, this is the time. Do we think they're going to go up? Yeah, I would pay. Everybody thinks they're going to go up. Yeah. By how much? Who knows? Maybe a quarter point. It is what it is. But
yeah, I think one more big jump, I think, is probably what everybody's been talking about the last 30 days-ish, right? So
this jump and then one more after that, probably another 75 basis points. If that's the case, then, who knows what will be. A lot of good data. What it sounds like is seasonality trends are going to still be something that we should pay attention to, housing market-wise. I think that if you're looking at, we come out, we're fully in a recession. I don't know, does it say we are?
Yeah. It says, GDP fell to 0.9% in the second quarter.
Okay.
Second quarter decline.
So
officially.
Two declining quarters, officially in a recession. Congratulations, everybody. What'd you say? It's not recess, though.
It's not recess.
It's not recess. So I love that. Kind of wish I came up with it. But yeah, I don't know. I just think if that's the case, and you look at the timeline, the average time to come out of recession, some people are saying it's 2 years. The most recent one was a year. Obviously, we got super stimulated. We got pumped full of steroids, and it was great.
Who did, dude?
It was great for that time, but then we deflated, right? And all of a sudden, boom, we're back here. So how is the country going to manage our rehab? We've all been through a rehab of some sorts, and that's just really what it comes down to.
I bought my home with the 2010 little grant that they gave, the $15,000
right
boost for my down payment.
Yeah,
that was the stimmy that was given at that time, right? So
it's almost like
there's always going to be
when your pet gets too fat, like your dog or your cat, because you're feeding them too much. Okay. And they just eat it, and you put it in the bowl, and they're just eating it. They get fat,
and you're like, dude, I gotta put you on a diet.
I gotta put you on a diet.
That's what's
happening. They don't really understand the diet, and you're just kind of feeding them less, and they're like,
and all they're seeing is the headlines of you just putting less food in there, or skipping a meal, skipping their midday snacks.
They're just like, dude. Well, that's what's happening, right? Yeah. I mean, they're literally putting the nation on a diet. It's a great way to look at it, and I know we're all feeling it in aspects of our life, right? We're all feeling it from, transaction count, conversations, all those things. But usually after a recession, which is the greatest thing, is there's this huge level of appreciation in the industry. And there's a level of appreciation in multiple industries and sectors of our economy that we get to ride that. So I think it's just what can we all do, to build within this time? How do we condition ourselves? What kind of things can we put into place that will make our lives so easy going into that rise of appreciation? How can we put our clients into that mentality as well, right? Hey, it's going to suck right now. This is not fun. Getting on the treadmill when you're haven't worked out for a very long time, or getting on the road or lifting, it's never fun, right? But once you condition yourselves in that mindset, it actually becomes a lot easier. And I think that's the way for us to look at it. It's kind of an off season that the economy really did need. Clearly, we definitely need it. Clearly, there's a lot of people that aren't listening, though. You know, there's people out there just outside,
still spending,
bro. Like, it's wild.
Still eating,
still going to bed late.
They found the bed. I mean, they found the bag of food, and they just ripped it open.
They're rummaging through it right now.
It's like 4 a.m. and they got like Jack in the Box. It's like the best meal, like with ranch though.
with ranch.
I'm a T-Bell guy.
Ranch.
I'm a T-Bell guy.
Did you guys eat your tacos with ranch at Taco Bell?
Yeah, everyone does.
Taco Bell? I mean, not Taco Bell. I'm sorry, Jack in the Box.
Jack in a Box.
curly
Yeah,
fries,
if you don't,
man.
you're
Dude,
a
you don't dip your tacos with there?
Well, that's just like what the irresponsible
sourdough
teenager
Jack.
version of me.
That's not even irresponsible, dude. That's a life choice.
I'm a
I'm
T-Bell.
gonna go get it right after this
I will get
podcast.
it with you.
I'm a T-Bell. T-Bell late.
But yeah, I just think that's the case, right? I mean, I think for us, I think for all of us, because it seems like I don't know. Let me ask you this question: how many of your clients are talking only about rate? Like, is that the biggest part of your conversation right now?
It's not even about rate. They just
It's like two ends of the spectrum right now for me. Like for me personally, from what I'm hearing out there,
I just
it's
hear
like,
wait. It's a bad time to buy, right? Like it's a bad time to buy,
Yeah.
right? That's what everyone's saying.
Do
It's
you
a
guys
bad time to
challenge
buy.
them on
All
where
the
they
time.
get that from?
yeah,
all the time.
You have to,
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
attempt
Yeah.
to, because
Yeah.
like in this kind of market, there's everybody's hearing that. And then how many of those people kind of shut that down and don't open their mouth to kind of engage in
Well, it's
more
funny, like the
conversation?
aggressive people. They're like, don't try to play me. I'm not one to be played. Everyone knows it's a bad time to buy. Like,
Right. I feel like I'm blessed with my hot clients right now. They're just like, I need this. Don't care.
Yeah.
This is what I need. I literally have another baby on the way. I'm literally moving here from LA. Like,
Yeah.
I need
Literally,
this house. There's nothing. I'm like,
my client right now, the one that I'm going to show, my hottest, like most motivated client, has a baby on the way.
right. And that's like, they're like, well, I don't care what it is. This is what I need for my life. So they're just like, okay, I'll deal with whatever it is. This is what I need.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, beautiful. I don't
Right.
have to go back and forth with you. I can still educate you and say, hey, you know, it might be a little higher now, and if it drops, you can refinance and you'll be happy. Yeah. Trust me. And when you see it go up and you get in a contract, like we're saying this week, if it's a lock week, you see it go up, you're gonna be even happier. And then it drops, then you refinance, and you're just gonna all around be like, Blaine, you're right.
How cool would it be
Thank
to
you very
see?
much. Refer me to your cousin.
How cool would it be to see the data of like all the COVID babies that like were born during like, or not born, but made conceived like during like maybe like April and May of the lockdown, and then like when that boom, like around that boom, when they're like, "Do we gotta get a house?" There probably is like data you could like find.
Matches.
Start marketing
I would say you can start marketing. Yeah, you can. All you gotta do is start marketing to like.
I'm gonna just
They're
go
like-
stand outside, bye
They're
bye
like
baby.
just
a
go to,
year
like-
right now, right? They're about
Yeah.
a year old. So
Yeah.
you just start,
That's
you
my
start
new
rise group
marketing
design.
plan. I'm going outside
full
of
on
bye bye baby
new
and
parents,
putting flyers on every car.
Just
Rise
like new
group
kids,
teethers,
just new parents,
rise
dude.
group pacifiers.
Cut that out. Do not give my sauce to any other realtor. No sauce to any other realtor. If I see anybody in Bye Bye Baby's parking lot, it's on site.
But that makes
I'm
sense.
fighting
though.
realtors.
The need for for more space, right? That's always going to be your market. That's a market that's never going to die.
Yeah.
Right. The need for more space.
Well,
Or to downsize too, right?
wanting everyone.
Gotta call them.
The thing is, the thing is, everyone wants to buy a house, right? Like you ask anyone, like, do you want to you want a house, right? You want to buy a house, like you want a sick house? Yeah, everyone like loves to have like a sick house. Everyone wants that. So the idea of wanting to buy a house or wanting a house is everyone wants it, but when you're actually buying a house, it sucks. It doesn't feel good. Like it's fun, it's scary, it's
not
uncomfortable.
fun spending $1 million.
Right, when you're spending the money, spending the money is the hard part. Like, but everyone wants a house. You see a beautiful house. I would love this house. Yeah,
I just said this morning, like the journey, like it's tough buying a home. Like you're out there looking for homes. You're going out every Sunday, open houses. You're trekking after work. You know, going out looking at 8
Reviewing
homes after a full day of work,
disclosures,
reviewing inspection reports, writing offers, getting your heart broken, and then going through the loan process and clearing conditions and all these hurdles. But then
emptying your
6
bank
months
account.
when you're in, you're in that last big wire of how much money, breaking the piggy bank. But like once you're in the house for 3 to 6 months, you forget all that.
Yeah.
Like it's like you forget. Like the journey is the journey, but the end result is really what's the right move for you and your family, right? And that's just the right chapter in your life that you got to start working on. So.
I mean, yeah, it's people just need to remember what the reason is.
Yeah.
What's your reason? Why?
What's your why?
Why? You want the house, right? You envision yourself in this house for whatever reason. Your important hot, points.
Yeah.
So quit looking at the data and just stick to your why.
That's just anything.
And everything.
That's a good way to say it, dude.
That's anything in life.
Now I'm an analytical kind of guy.
I know, me
too.
too.
But sometimes you just got to go with your gut,
Sometimes the naive investor is a successful investor.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Well, I think we end on that there.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful segue to lunch.
Jack in the
Stick
Box.
to your why.
Walk through the drive-through.
Jack in the Box.
Yes. We all sit in like 440.
Where's your
Who's
car
driving?
at, dude?
I've done that as a kid. Like put someone in the back. You're in the back.
Take
I'm
the shopping
driver,
cart
just
out in the
walk
parking
up.
lot. We'll just
You done that?
James through.
The car's invisible.
Yeah.
It's like at night when the inside's closed.
They're cool.
Like we can't do it.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. My money is good here.
Yeah.
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
All right, guys. Well, great podcast. Great group. We'll see you
intro.
next time.
Thanks for hopping on,
You
dude.
need an outro and intro.
I didn't know you were gonna be here.
Outro and intro.
And I'm outro.